Hey guys, my name is Miska and welcome to HitScan. Today I'm looking at that Gameinformer coverage that I've been talking about on this channel, and I'm sorry to say, but I think I actually hyped it up a bit too much. I'm gonna be very transparent with this video. There is no info on a new story mission in here or a new hero in particular, but there are some things that are expanded on. Further comments on Echo, some new info that helps a bit with figuring out sort of time frame and release date, a little bit more stuff on hero missions, actually quite a few details there. And I'm just gonna get started straight away with the future hero section. Real quick though, if you don't know what I'm talking about here, I'm referring to the Gameinformer coverage about Blizzard, the Blizzard exclusive coverage for December. It came out just last night and I've read all of it. It's really cool and well structured. I think just for Overwatch 2 out of all the games though, there was not as much info. Either way, today's video is also sponsored by HyperX. They do provide us with all of our gaming gear, headsets, keyboards and mouse, so check them out in the description. They make some really quality stuff if you're looking for some new gear to replace. Either way, when discussing future heroes, Jeff Kaplan was the one that was mostly quoted throughout all of this. We've previously had comments that I had from that interview, basically saying that there will be at least one more hero until the Overwatch 2 launch comes out, which sounds pretty worrying. However, in that same sort of comment, Jeff said that, oh, it was good fishing, but he's not gonna confirm any of our suspicions, leaks, or speculation. And he said that in a way that kind of hinted at Echo. However, this new comment says something a bit different. Basically, we can assume that Echo will be one of these new recruits, but for the time being, Blizzard doesn't want to give away her role yet. Interesting, no direct quote there, but I guess those questions came up and they just said we can't really talk about that yet. But the answers allude to her being mysterious and different, and this is also in that rapid fire video where it was just said that Echo was kind of mysterious and a bit weird, a bit different. So this is something that we've heard maybe 2 or 3 times now total, and this to me really screams new hybrid role. That's what that really says to me. They've said that we're gonna get more tanks and supports. I think that this may very well be a support that has a whole lot of DPS attached to them, as we saw Echo pretty fight ready in the trailer, not really in a support role but more like shooting people with lasers from her arms and all these sort of things. That's just my bet there though. It seems kind of likely with them wanting to clearly move away from as set roles and trying to blur the lines a bit more between main tank and off tank and things like that. So that's kind of our update on Echo. That there's definitely some odd stuff going on around that role there. I feel like with how much we're talking about Echo though, it just seems more and more unlikely to be the next character. The next question that's been asked a lot is, when is Overwatch 2 out? I still see this question in our comments here and there. And unfortunately, there's not really much good news here. In fact, I would say that this article, if anything, puts Overwatch 2 further into the future than what some people previously thought. At BlizzCon, when I asked Jeff about this, he said that thing that I've seen quoted in a lot of places, that essentially it won't be out this year, 2019, and in 2020 at BlizzCon, we will most likely still be talking about it if that helps. Something along those lines, I'm paraphrasing a bit. Essentially, it probably won't be out by BlizzCon next year is kind of what I got from that. Some people wanted to believe that maybe it would be released just before BlizzCon and then expanded on at BlizzCon or something along those lines. However, here, executive producer Chaco Sonny says it's still too early to talk about that. And then it's also expanded when talking about the platforms that it will be on: PS4, Xbox One, PC and Switch, that the team wouldn't say if PlayStation 5 and Xbox One's successor, codenamed Project Scarlett, are in the cards, but I believe there's a chance those systems could be added to the lineup if Overwatch 2 launches in late 2020 or beyond. Okay, so what does this tell us? Well, basically those consoles are set to come out for holiday next year. That's when in the US especially a lot of console and just gaming systems are just sold, so it makes sense for them to come out around that time of year. If those are actually still in the cards, as they say here, and Blizzard might actually put Overwatch 2 on those systems, it could be more likely that we see an even later release date after these systems are actually out. Hard to say. We've also seen the separate launches like GTA 5 that launched on the previous gen of PS3 and so on, and then later on next gen, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong there. Regardless, them not commenting on that rather than saying that they are not planning to release for any other systems right now makes me feel like they are actually considering it, which would mean a later launch, which would mean at least a year from now. But honestly, with the way that Blizzard take their time on things, probably more. So anyone that was wishing for like a pre-BlizzCon 2020 release, I'm pretty sure that seems very unlikely at this point, to put it mildly. Next up, some interesting stuff about hero missions that I think is both some good and bad news in here, but people have been asking a lot for details and we haven't actually had them, but this is actually the most I've seen about hero missions in terms of information in one place. I've summed it up for you with some highlighting. So the main thing is that the plan is for the hero missions to take place on all of Overwatch's existing and forthcoming maps. Basically, they won't be making specific maps for these missions, and I think that kind of makes sense, but I know a lot of people don't really like that in games when maps are just reused for another sort of mode. However, there will be changes made to them in the way that there will be dropships landing and characters sort of taking up various space and enemies just having their own structures in play there. We've seen in some of the screenshots that I'm showing on screen right now that that is the case on Mecha Base, for example. However, it is said here that this mode is still in the prototyping phase. Now, the fact that that is still in the prototyping phase, and it's also said previously that the story missions are just not finished yet and they don't know how many there will be and so on, tells me that this game is far from being finished. Basically, the more and more I read this article, I'm feeling a 2021 release is what I'm trying to say here. This article did not even mention the progression systems that they want to add, as Aaron Keller very briefly commented on at BlizzCon saying that they're working on way more and that the town system that they have right now is only one of several they're trying internally. They also have, of course, the entire story to finish, which is going to be a lot of work, a lot of cutscenes, a lot of people that are going to be there to make that happen. Hero missions on every single current Overwatch map and the ones they're adding with Overwatch 2 and potentially future ones as well that they're going to have to sort of at least plan for there is a lot of stuff to put into one game. And that's not even including all of the heroes and other PvP things that they're working on. The more and more I think about this, the more and more I definitely see why they're calling this a sequel rather than a bigger patch. But it also makes me a bit surprised that they started talking about Overwatch 2 publicly now. I feel like maybe they did that because they wanted to try and get themselves a little bit more time from the community so people know what they're working on instead of them just saying, oh, it's some secret stuff in the background. But that is where I have a problem with how Blizzard are handling this. If anyone from Blizzard happens to be watching this video, which seems kind of unlikely honestly, you need to communicate when you do stuff like this. The community will not really care about something that's released in a year and a half from now. There are many other games to play, and maintaining a player base that will be playing the same PvP stuff that they're used to right now as well in this new game is crucial to just keep the interest up and make sure that players actually return. PvP players might not actually be interested in PvE. And whilst I'm sure that Overwatch 2 will do well and I'm really looking forward to it, just letting the game as it is currently be in some weird limbo throughout 2020 is really not gonna help. And if that is not the case to leave the game in a weird limbo, then talk to us about that. I sincerely hope that Blizzard either themselves communicate about this or get pushed and sort of asked about this enough for them to answer this in like an interview somewhere with anyone, just so we have something more to go on. Because right now, it's not like Ryan and I have some secret info on what will happen with Overwatch in the next year. We have no idea, and that's pretty worrying. CSGO just got a huge update just last night. There's loads of stuff to play there and lots of cool new cosmetics, of course, and all that jazz. Full disclosure, I've been playing way too much of that game recently, holy. But regardless, there's also Rainbow Six Siege, new operation, new characters, loads of new stuff there to play, and changes to those games. Project A is potentially on the horizon, we don't know when, nothing really about that game has been released, but what I'm saying is there's competition and there's content out there, and right now Overwatch is missing things that will put them in the pool to compete with that, and Blizzard without a doubt are aware of this. But seriously, we need some communication here. Speaking of communication, a really nice segue into talking about these fantastic HyperX headsets. I'm using one right now. I've got like 5 of them I think, and I actually use quite a few of them for different stuff. For my laptop, for my phone I use one with Bluetooth. For my main PC I have 2 different ones that I switch between a little bit, one wireless and one not. There's many of them, but you can check out one particular one on our link in the description, or the one in the pinned top comment, or the one maybe even on screen right now. It's gonna be everywhere. HyperX are great, they've supported this channel for a long time, thanks to our sponsor HyperX. Alrighty, what do you think about Overwatch 2 plans as a whole? What should Overwatch 1 get sooner rather than later? Is a new hero really the most important thing? Should we just get a new hero as soon as absolutely possible? Is that kind of #1 priority? I don't really know myself, to be completely honest. I'm liking this latest patch, but I do think we need something else to make the game feel refreshing enough to keep playing it if it's gonna be until February or March until we get a new hero added to the game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, even though it was a bit different. If you want to check out the full coverage from Gameinformer, of course, you can go to gameinformer.com and you can check out the latest issue there. You can actually buy it on your phone very easily. That's what I did. If you have checkout on the Google Play Store or on the Apple Store, it is very easy to just pick that up very quickly, actually. And the coverage for Diablo and WoW was really solid. The stuff for Overwatch just lacked a little bit. Anyway, that's it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.